Technology moves at such a rapid pace that we are always upgrading and acquiring new devices, which leaves the question, what do we do with our old devices? Do we donate them? Do we toss them? Do we find some way to give them a second life? This is something we all have to deal with. Our tech guy, Rich Brooks from Flight New Media, has been giving this some thought, and he's with us here today. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you as always.
Absolutely, Rob.
So when you're pondering this question, what is sort of the first thing that you should be thinking about as you get ready to maybe part with some of your old technology?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just to protect yourself. So you want to make sure that you wipe all of your data, all your personal sensitive data off your devices. So for smartphones and tablets and computers, there's usually a factory reset button somewhere in the settings that'll take care of it. If you have a SIM card, like in a tablet or a smartphone, you want to remove that. If you have an external drive, like an SD card, make sure you take care of that. If you're talking about a computer, and you may have some really sensitive data on there, maybe your financials or healthcare issues, you might want to invest in a piece of software that will do a full data wipe. Run that a couple of times just to make sure there's no information that's recoverable on your device when you're ready to retire it.
Okay, that's priority one. Take care of the data, make sure it's safe. What do you then start to be thinking about if you're considering selling your devices?
Yeah, nothing wrong with making a few bucks on that old tech,
Absolutely.
for sure. So obviously, if you're buying a new phone these days, there's a lot of trade-in values. But if that's not what you want to do, there's online services, and we've talked about a few of these on the show before, places like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and even eBay. And then there's some dedicated websites like Declutter and Gazelle, which you can sell your old tech on. And if you're not sure what you should charge, what the market will bear, usually the best thing is just go to those websites, do a search for the very product you're trying to get rid of, and very often you'll find the exact same model and what condition it's in, and then you'll know how to price your product, whether you're trying to get the most for it or just trying to get rid of it as quickly as possible.
Sometimes we don't want to sell, we don't want to deal with the hassle, we just want to donate it and do some good. Are there nonprofit organizations out there that will accept donations of old technology?
There sure are, and yeah, sometimes you just want to deal with haggling with some online bidder there. There are a lot of local organizations and schools and other services that are more than happy to take that old tech off your hands, like Goodwill, for instance, and they will often refurbish it. There's also Computers for a Cause, which is a national-based organization. They'll take your devices, they'll rehab it for people in need, and some of these services even allow you to kind of say who you want these products to go to, so you might have something for like battered women or veterans, so you can kind of make a decision that way as well.
Here's an option that you raised that I think a lot of people don't think of, and that is keeping it, but giving a device some sort of a new use, a new purpose around the home.
Yeah, this was probably the most fun in the research, is just seeing how creative people get. So there were people who took old iPhones and turned them into baby monitors with the right apps, or dedicated music players, or even webcams for their computers. There were people who took tablets and turned them into digital camera frames, or dedicated recipe readers in their kitchen. And then people took old computers and even old monitors, and they turned them into servers, they turned them into music players, they even turned them into fish tanks as well. Now, I would not do that with a flat monitor. I think you want to go with one of the old CRT models, but pretty creative stuff.
Very creative. I love the imagination that goes into that. How about if what you've got is really just, it is spent, it has no working value, but it obviously shouldn't just go in the trash, so you've got to recycle it. How do you go about looking into options there?
Yeah, that's a great point, because the last thing we want to do is throw it away. Most of these products are made with toxic chemicals that once they get in the landfills, they start leaching into the water supply. So some of the things that you can do is there are a lot of municipalities that have recycling days, so you can go to your town's website and find out when that is. There's also big box stores like Best Buy and Staples that will take back recycled products as well. For bigger devices like TVs, you might want to call in advance, see if there's a charge. If you don't care about the charge, many of your local recycling centers, what I used to call the town dump when I was growing up, will also have a recycling center, and for a few bucks, they'll recycle your products for you to keep them out of the landfill.
It's now the transfer station, as you know.
The transfer station, yes.
All right, final advice for people who are thinking about going into the drawers, going into the closets, and cleaning stuff out.
Yeah, if you want to get started this weekend, I'd say just start small. Just choose a few of the devices that are the most old and obsolete. Go through your drawers, and then just get like 3 bins and create the sell, the recycle, and the donate pile. And if you have cables that go with the ones that you're going to donate or sell, make sure those cables go with them, because sometimes there are no extra cables to be seen. but I always like to take like one cable of each type and just store it in a drawer for a few years in case that style comes back in, or if one of my other cords dies, I always have a backup.
All right, great advice. I love all these ideas, especially in this month when people are going to be getting a lot of new devices.
Absolutely.
Rich Brooks from Flight New Media, thank you as always.